This is Average Sports.
By your average guys.
Eric.
And Ty. That would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of
You're listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty.
And we're back just like that. Thanks for tuning in. It's another episode of Average Sports with your average guys, Eric
and Ty.
Oh, I like that we've done that enough that it's comfortable. There's no cue or, it's just totally, we know
what's coming.
There. Yeah, all right. It is Average Sports, and we got another average episode for you. We're going to talk really a lot about baseball in this one. We got some stuff to cover. But before we do get into any of the topics or checking out the latest standings of this young MLB season, let's talk about what else is going on in sports. The NHL. It was a 56-game season. It's about to wrap up. It's really getting close, actually. The most teams around the league only have about 8, maybe 10 games. Looking at like Anaheim Ducks only have 6 games left. So it's interesting stuff. Looking at some of the divisions, a lot of the top 3 teams have already clinched. Until you go to the Mass Mutual East or the Scotia North, there's only one team out of those 2 divisions who have actually officially clinched the playoffs.
It's tight there, man. 'Cause I mean, the top 4 from each one are going to go. And even in the East, Washington, who has the most points at 68, still hasn't clinched. So even a team that has like 51 points and the Flyers is still technically eligible. And the Flyers and the Rangers are still the only 2 teams left in the East that could make it. And they're slightly behind Boston and the Islanders at 63 and 62 points.
Because let's revisit the playoff format new to this year. And it's just for this year. It's taking the top 4 teams in each of these 4 divisions, right?
Top 4 in each division, correct.
All right. And then when does Canada actually get to play?
Don't know.
Okay. I guess we'll see. Because, of course, the northern team, the Scotia North, that's all the Canadian teams lumped into one division, they have not played anywhere in the States or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting, like your Toronto or Edmonton, if they advance to the next round, to have to play the next, which would be the Eastern Division, I would imagine. I think that's how it's set up. Is it East and North and then West and Central? Either way.
Sure. I thought it was Central and East.
Oh, okay.
Especially since the Central has like Carolina, Florida, Tampa, Detroit, and Columbus, all of which are Eastern Conference.
Either way, all those teams are in the States, and then you have these 7 Canadian teams. So, it'll be interesting. But just real quick, Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay, and looks like Toronto are all your teams that are guaranteed in the playoffs right now. So, Eric, how about that baseball?
Hey,
what have you been watching some? What's going on?
I've been watching a little bit of baseball, but
bit of baseball?
Not a ton.
Okay. We have some baseball on right now.
It's just such a great sport to have on. And do other stuff.
Oh, no doubt.
Around the house, like you peek out, around the corner, like you're cleaning something. Like, oh, let me watch this. Okay, now back to cleaning, kind of thing,
Yeah, because chances are the same batter is up, 20 minutes later.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with baseball.
I don't see it as a problem at all, actually.
But one of the things that I really loved is what pitcher Trevor Bauer recently said. He now plays for the Dodgers, but he recently said in response to Fernando Tatis trolling after home runs, doing his whole backflip and swagger kind of thing.
Love that stuff.
I do. Trevor Bauer said, quote, "I like it. I think that pitchers who react by throwing at people, I think that's pretty soft. If you give up a homer, the guy should be able to celebrate it. I think it's important that the game moves in that direction and we stop throwing at people because they celebrated having some success on the field." Trevor Bauer, my man.
So this is no new conversation between you and myself, and even on this show, we have talked about, in particular, in baseball celebrating. I am not as strong proponent as you probably are, Eric. However, I totally agree, 100%. You should show like some excitement, energy, celebrate. But I think there's, to a lot of things, or anything, there's a limit. I mean, how far could you go? Are they going to start choreographing home run routines outside the dugout?
If they start doing that, like they do in the NFL,
exactly,
I'm in.
Right. Oh, you're in. Okay,
get some Justin Jefferson dances going on. I'm all board.
Yeah, but then you're just adding to the sport. Like how much time are you going to add to celebrate on the field?
Tatis is going to do that, and then he's going to look in the camera and say, "Ty, are you not entertained?"
Yeah, okay. It better be some really good highfalutin celebrating. That's what I want to see. Some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you though. Like there is a limit to it. But I think baseball is still the old man. Get off my lawn. Yeah. And they don't like the celebration and the emotion. And dude, get out of here with that nonsense.
Which is interesting though, because I have watched a few games as of late, and I have noticed more. And maybe because it was the conclusion of the game where the closing pitcher would celebrate. I mean, and it just, flex their arms and, clearly vocalizing, yelling out like that.
Yeah.
Let's go. When they're amped up. Like, why not? You just close out the game. The team got to win.
But God forbid if a
bat flip happened.
If he throws a, 95 mile an hour hitter down the middle and gets crushed 475 feet.
Yeah.
God forbid if that guy shows the slightest bit of emotion and doesn't run the bases fast enough.
No, it's definitely a two-way street. I think it's definitely appropriate for players to celebrate. And, of course, there's nothing better than a walk-off, too.
Hey, man.
When you see someone the whole team comes out, you can dogpile because the game's over. So, great. You're walking it off. So, I don't mind, a little extra celebration in that instance.
Yeah.
But, there's a limit. But anyway, I don't know how long we need to hang on celebrations, but I like that you found that quote.
I love
Bauer
that quote.
Speaking up.
Trevor Bauer, my man.
Yeah. All right. Celebrate in moderation. That's what baseball wants.
More than moderation.
All right. You want to see more. All right. Well, let's see if it gets to that. How about, though, with our topic, though, today, we unfortunately have seen a couple of instances where we're in St. Louis when we record this, and of course, then a lot of Cardinal games are on. That team has struggled as of late in terms of their some of their pitching. They've had some incidences, Eric, and it actually has some overlap or a negative consequence to some new rules that perhaps baseball didn't actually think fully through. So let's frame what happened. About a week ago, less than a week, the Cardinals were playing Cincinnati Reds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Flaherty was on the mound.
India was up at the plate
for Cincinnati, and he got plunked in the head.
Okay. That was not a good situation. Fortunately, he is okay.
Yeah, he popped up real quick. It definitely hit him on the helmet, so it took the brunt of it. But he popped up a little mad. Rightfully so.
Just a little? Yeah, I would be too.
But also, India, this is now the second time this season he's been hit. In the opening series against the Pirates, he got hit as well in the head. So this dude's had some bad luck to start the year with some head balls.
Occupational hazard,
he's a little sensitive.
Right. And these things happen. You get hit by the ball every once in a while in baseball. But in the head, that shouldn't really...
It's tough, man.
That should be very limited. And you can get really aggravated, and I think you should, in that instance. So what happened, though, is that David Bell, their manager for the Reds... after a warning was given to both benches after he's hit, he comes out, he says, "What the hell are you doing?" And he gets thrown out, and that creates a big, to do. So we can discuss a little bit about that right now. That doesn't have so much in terms of the rules. I mean, that's not even necessarily a new rule. Umpires have been throwing out those warnings for quite some time because they want to make sure they are keeping out any escalation from occurring and the retaliation from occurring
that's certainly
later in the
part
game.
of it.
I get that.
Yeah, and what David Bell was really upset about is the fact that this rule, he was the pitcher and the benches were given warnings because it was deemed non-intentional. And because the umpires ruled this non-intentional, they couldn't eject Flaherty in this case. So the most they could do was issue a warning, which they did, and they issued it to both benches, which then, of course, led David Bell to be upset because now his team can't retaliate, which I'm okay with.
I mean, there's a whole nother conversation to be had there, whether that's okay.
Then my favorite, Cowboy Joe West. We got Dog up here today.
To answer what that noise was.
Cowboy Joe West, got on his high horse as he always does and threw out David Bell. Now, not to say that David Bell didn't deserve it. I'm sure he was saying very nice things about Joe West to his face.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, which then... that one was kind of the catalyst for this happening again to the Cardinals, which happened as we record this yesterday.
Wednesday, 28th.
Against the I wanted to say
Phillies.
The Nationals. I almost said the Nationals because it's Bryce Harper.
Good, right. It was the Phillies.
But he's a Philly now, and he got hit in the face.
In the face.
Like, not on the helmet, in the face. He did a good job of doing his best to somewhat deflect it. I'm not even sure if he did.
I think it really speaks to his athleticism. He was seeing this ball. It was like 96 or 97 mile per hour fastball that was high and in. He saw it coming his way. He did the survival mode thing. He turned away from it. He got it as out of the path of the ball as best as possible. Yeah. Still, though, the ball made direct contact with his face without deflecting off a shoulder, an arm, or anything like that. It's a gruesome pitch to watch, especially live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hit him right below the left eye. Yeah. He popped up. He looks like he has nothing more than just a little bit of a swollen face, not even a black eye. And one of the pregame conferences, media talks he was doing, and this is where we come in on this topic. So this was the very first batter that was it Gallegos? Correa. Sorry,
Cabrera. That's the name.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, it was the first batter he had faced in the inning. And now the new rule states, and this is more of a time rule, they don't want you changing pitchers every batter.
Okay.
You have to face a minimum of 3 batters unless you get injured. That's the only exception. Or I guess if you get thrown out, then that would probably be the second one. So he faced one batter. First pitch, Bryce Harper hit him in the face.
Hits in the face.
Sure enough, the warnings did not come at that point. It was very clearly unintentional. He was visibly shaken up. Bryce left the game. They did a double switch, and Joe Girardi is the manager for the Phillies. And on the very next batter, Didi Gregorius got hit right in the ribs with a 96 mile an hour.
Right in the ribs. So 2 pitches, 2 batters on the ground.
Yeah.
With potentially really damaging pitches. Sure, if you got hit in the body, in the ribs, God forbid, like a broken rib would suck. That's not fun. You're likely to be okay and still get to play the game after a week or two. But a ball to the face could be career-ending, if not life-altering. Yeah.
Could be life-threatening, too. Right. I mean, if it, happened.
If it struck you the right way, or, could have been blind. I mean, it was right on his left eye.
Yeah. So
that bad of a pitch.
That's when the warnings came out, and Joe Girardi lost his mind. Same exact thing that happened to David Bell.
You can't blame him.
Threw a fit. He wanted to, he kind of wanted to retaliate.
Right.
Now he can't. And like we said, that's a different discussion. But it kind of begs the question of knowing just how visibly upset the Cabrera was yesterday after he hit Bryce. Like, it was very clear, should there be some sort of extenuating circumstance to have the powers that be that step in, they can be like, hey, we got to get you out of here, man. Like, it's super dangerous. You clearly don't have it. Like, it's more of a safety thing. Mm-hmm. Don't really want to leave that up to the managers, because I think, let's be real, they'll abuse it.
Yeah. Of course. You're going to find an edge.
Yeah, they're going to find an edge. They're going to find a loophole that they can then get all their specialists in.
Exploit it and to try to win.
It really games. Should be in the hands of the umpires as a collaborative.
Absolutely.
And not be ruled as an ejection, but just more of a safety, like, hey, man, like, we got to get you out of here.
Yeah, you're clearly not feeling it. You're not in control of the baseball.
Yeah. Which is dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially dangerous. If you have an arm that can elevate a ball to a velocity of high 90s. That's crazy fast.
Super fast.
I don't want to get hit by that.
Nah, I don't want to get hit by that in the thigh. Definitely not in the ribs, and most certainly not in the face.
So, in other words, the rule has failed us in this instance because, like we're saying, he was not in control of the baseball, and then everyone's hands seem to be tied. I think in hindsight, and even as I was watching this live, I was telling myself,